All right, welcome back to another video. I'm really excited about this one. We're going to talk about marketing, how to grow your practice. And this video, I think, will be packed full of information. So we're going to talk about different methods for marketing your practice, where you can market, how you can market, strategies that actually work from my own practical experience. We're going to talk about mindset, how you can think about your marketing strategies and things like that. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I'm going to give you a challenge. I have a challenge for you this week, this month. I want to talk about that. And then I'm also going to talk about, so marketing involves a couple things, right? The first step is kind of, where you list your practice or how you advertise your practice. From there, people then reach out to you. And then that component, right, whether it be a phone screen or your website, but once someone makes contact with your practice, how is that going for you? How are you doing there? That's a huge component of the marketing process, right? You might have a really good, let's say good ad. Someone calls you, but your phone screen or your consultation call doesn't go so well. And so then the person doesn't stick. That doesn't mean your ad was bad or your marketing was bad, but maybe we can firm up the call. We'll talk about that a bit. And yeah, I think by the end of the video, you're gonna have a much better understanding of what marketing is for private practice, some practical ways to market, and a new way of thinking about the consultation call, and overall just more confident in your practice and how it can grow. All right, so let's just dive right in. I am actually going to pull up my screen for you. I love to do this right here. And these are just my notes, right? So you're going to have to watch the video. You can't just screenshot this. Although you can screenshot it, you'll have a much fuller understanding if you follow along with the video. All right, so we're going to go through this in order, and we're going to try to make as much sense of this as possible. All right. So the first thing we're actually going to think about is marketing. And what I've put under here, these are toggle headings. Look how cool that is. Marketing, the way we're going to think about it for this video is basically like how you put your practice out there, right? So is it a listing on a directory? Is it an ad on Google? Whatever it may be. But that's like the first step, right? And so we're going to break this down into a couple different categories. Now, when it comes to building a private practice, my suggestion is to have a wide range of marketing strategies, right? So maybe it's a couple directories, maybe it's dabbling with Google Ads, Google My Business is one, some networking, but not just one strategy, but multiple strategies is usually the best bet, right? Because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. But let's actually just go through some of the categories of different ways you can market. So one of the most common is going to be directories. This is going to be the directories like Psychology Today, ZocDoc, Alma, right? Just a standard directory where there's a whole listing of providers and then potential clients go in, log, filter through, whatever it might be, right? My encouragement to you is to list yourself on the most popular directories in your area. Again, some really common ones, Psych Today, ZocDoc is a good one. Alma is good. The thing about ZocDoc is it's fairly costly, but it's a good one. So people overlook it initially because of the price tag, but it's a very popular directory. So the whole point of being on a directory is that you want potential clients to find you. So again, you want to list yourself on I would do a couple, right? Popular directories, meaning where are clients going often to look for therapists, right? What do clients know to search? Right, ZocDoc's popular, Psych Today, right? But that's that. So directories is one, all right? And the other thing about directories is a listing does cost you something usually. However, the cost of it is made up most of the time with one client, basically, who sticks with your practice, right? So a worthwhile investment. Another option that is often overlooked is Google My Business. I have an entire video tutorial about Google My Business. You can check that out. I'll link it down below. But this is entirely free and it enables your practice to show up on Google search results. I cannot explain to you how good a Google My Business profile is for your practice. And it is something that will grow and get better over time. So Google My Business is huge. I always encourage people to sign up for that if possible, but don't just sign up for that now. Check out my tutorial. There's a couple ways you have to think about it, a couple steps you need to take before just signing up, all right? So that's another one. And then we have a category that I would kind of consider SEO and Google Ads. We might think about this as a bit more advanced. You don't have to do this if you're just starting out, but if you're someone who's looking to really grow, perhaps you're thinking about going cash pay, then investing in SEO and Google Ads might be helpful. This is usually a much more costly strategy. You can do it yourself, but it's best to hire a company who specializes in these things. And essentially what SEO and Google Ads does, SEO stands for search engine optimization. This is quite an involved, this is not something you just push a button and it works. But SEO basically involves building your website and your presence online so that your website shows up on Google search results. So if someone searches DBT therapy near me, you want your website to show up first or second or third, right? Or in the top page of Google. So SEO would help someone do that. And then Google Ads would be a way you basically pay Google to advertise your practice at the top of a Google search result. All right. Now, we're not going to go into all the details about how to do that. I have a lot of videos about that. Again, I'll link some down below. But this is another category of marketing. And then you have social media marketing, which a lot of people, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about this as well. It's not easy to do. It can be effective, but it's a long journey. Of course, you may be that person who goes viral quickly and, it takes off. There's always a chance of that. So it's kind of exciting in that regard. But if you're looking to build a consistent referral base on social media, it takes a lot of work. Coming up with ideas, posting, making content. It's a lot of work, but it's possible. And then we have networking, right? And there's the old school way of networking. Maybe you're sending out flyers, maybe you're going to events. That all can work just fine. I wouldn't go too overboard on this because it's not the most effective strategy in my opinion. But I think included in here as well are going onto Facebook groups and responding to people who are looking for therapists. So there's a lot of communities on Facebook for therapists, and inside those communities, sometimes therapists will say, I'm searching for a therapist for a potential client or whatever. So responding to that can be fruitful. It has been for my practice. So I wouldn't write networking off. I would certainly engage in it, but I wouldn't make that my number one source. All right, so now we've kind of briefly described these different categories of market, how you can put your practice out there. Now, if you're just starting, I would pick maybe 2 directories to list yourself on, 2 or 3 directories. I would absolutely do a Google My Business. If I was just starting, I might hold off on SEO and Google Ads, and I would occasionally spend some time, maybe an hour or 2 a week, networking. All right. The SEO and Google Ads, the social media, I would encourage people who are perhaps looking to go to the next level, to really expand, maybe start there. That doesn't mean you can't, but those are kind of like, in my experience, I did those things kind of after kind of establishing a small foundation in the practice. All right. So that is kind of the strategies. Now let me make sure we're on. Is my sound okay? My sound is working. For a second, I thought I recorded all that and my sound wasn't working, but it is. All right. Now I'm going to pause here for a second and give you the challenge. Now, the thing is, I get a lot of people who call me and they say, hey, Matt, I'm looking to grow my practice. I need some help. I need some strategies. And I asked them, I said, have you taken an actual inventory of how many people have called you for consultations in the last 12 months, 3 months, 6, whatever it might be, but have you actually collected the data? A lot of people say, no, I haven't actually collected the data. So my challenge this week, well, the challenge, you can do it this week, but the challenge is going to involve you looking back perhaps over the previous 12 months or so. I have it written down here. I want you to make a spreadsheet. And to the best of your ability, I want you to go back, look at your emails, look at your calls, whatever it is you need to do. And I want you to make a simple spreadsheet of how many clients actually reached out to you over the past 12 months. And you can break it down by month. And if you're able to, if you can make another column that states where the client found you, whether it be Headway, ZocDoc, whatever it might be. And I want you to actually see what's the average number of referrals per month that you get. It's often higher than people think. they often have like a good amount of referrals coming in. They don't all stick. They lose track of the numbers. And then in a slow season, they're kind of panicked and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting enough clients. But once I encourage people to do this, a lot of times they say, you know what, actually, I am getting a decent amount of clients. And we're able to say, well, then what's kind of going on? You know, is because not every client's going to stick, even if you're the best therapist in the world or have the best strategies, right? It just, no one has a 100% a success rate with attracting clients. It just doesn't happen that way. And nor would we want that, because no therapist is perfect for every single person out there. So again, the challenge, take an inventory, make a spreadsheet, collect the actual data. And maybe you'll find that, oh, you know what, I'm not getting enough referrals. I need to, you know, expand the type of marketing I'm doing. Or maybe you'll say, you know what, I am getting enough. Maybe I need to firm up the consultation call. And that's actually what we're going to talk about next. So let's do that challenge. I would love for you to share your result. You don't have to share the specific results, but share some of your findings maybe down below in the comments. Let us know. It'd be really fun to know, and actually learning, I think it would help all of us learn. So there's that. And then, so once we kind of have a market, right, we have all these marketing strategies, they're deployed, people will start reaching out eventually. And that's what I would call the contact portion of the marketing, right? So they see your practice advertised. Let's just imagine Psych Today. They see your profile, it looks pretty good. Boom, they send you an email. Can we set up a call? You set up the call. What's going on in those calls? How are you interacting in those calls? Is this an area that you can firm up? I do plan on making perhaps another video just about this, about the consultation call. So the consultation call is one. We'll circle back to that in a second. But perhaps they find your profile and they go to your website. What does your website say? Is it clear, right? We want to, in some regard, whether it be our consultation call, our website, whatever that second step is, where a client they find you and then they decide to go further, whether the call, the what, I'm kind of stuttering here because I'm thinking about the right way to describe this. For a lot of, not necessarily new clinicians, but people who are building up their practice, or for therapists in particular, I find it's a challenging part to have that call and not be like overly flexible. All right. And what do I mean by that? A lot of therapists, myself included, you know, we're not salespeople. We didn't go to school to be salespeople, and not that we're doing sales, right? We usually didn't go to school for business or something like that. So when we get on a consultation call, oftentimes our therapist hat is on, which it does need to be. We can't fully take it off, right? But we're trying to give, I don't know, a sneak peek into our therapy style. You know, maybe we're trying to, maybe we're fearful that the client's not going to want to work with us. Whatever the case may be, a lot of times the consultation call is where things start to fall apart for people. So just a couple tips when it comes to the consultation call. Number one, and I have this idea of don't be fearful here, but I can't challenge you to not be fearful. Sometimes we're fearful, or you know, we don't have the confidence, and that's okay. That will come with time. But I want to encourage you to kind of think about your call this way. Number one, you want to be really clear about who you are and what you do. What's your specialty? What kind of therapy do you do? And you want to be really clear about that, because you want to be clear about that because number one, you want the client to make a really informed decision, right? You don't want them to kind of think that you're a jack of all trades and you can do all sorts of things. Most therapists have a particular specialty or a particular kind of niche. Wow, my camera cut out because I touched it. Sound didn't cut out, hopefully. And so you want to be really clear about what you do. If that means the client says, yeah, this is not a good fit, that's okay. Because we don't want to necessarily begin work with clients that aren't a good fit. That's not helpful for us or them. So being extra clear about that. When I say don't be fearful, what I'm really saying is don't be worried that clients are not going to stick with you. That's okay. We're not looking to have every client that comes through stick with our practice. We're really looking to have clients stick with our practice that are going to match well with our style, our specialty, our niche. That's going to be really good for you and them, right? So again, just being really, really clear in the phone consultation with who you are, what you do, what your specialty is, and especially on your website. I realize people go way too broad. You know, they kind of have a website that says they do everything. When they get on the call, they're kind of saying, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. And it just becomes too broad. And then the client might stick, but then maybe, you know, 1 or 2 sessions in, they realize, oh, this style doesn't work for me. So just being really clear about who you are and what you do. I think that's number one. And then number two, yes, we want to have the therapy hat on, but we also, in some regard, are not there to do therapy on the consultation call. We are there to let a potential client know about our practice, how it works, what we do, and this kind of blends in with what I just said, right? And maybe if you are, you know, doing a safety screener and all that, that's totally fine. But when it comes to kind of the marketing aspect of the call, you want to be, you don't have to feel confident, but you want to be confident in the fact that your service is valuable. And that's whether or not you take insurance, you have a sliding scale, you're cash paid, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about monetary value per se. But when I say that, I mean, you want to, you know, you don't want to be overly accommodating. Now, we want to be accommodating. These are hard conversations to have, right? Because I don't mean not to be accommodating, but let me give you an example. A new therapist has a phone consultation, client gets on the phone, potential client, and they start asking about, you know, when are you available to meet? You know, what hours do you have? And a lot of times the therapist will start adjusting hours on the spot. You know, I can do evenings, and now they're adjusting. Or, you know, maybe a client says, you know, I am dealing with this issue and that issue. You know, I have some experience with that. And my thought is don't bend your style, your hours, your approach to every client on every call. Again, this kind of goes back to being really clear. And I think, again, being clear about who you are, what you do, what your hours are, what your style is, this is going to go a long way. Now, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but I think this is a really important part of the call. When that happens, we might get more people who don't follow through, but we get more people who do follow through that are a good long-term fit, all right? Again, I hope to make a video more about that in the future specifically. But I want you to think about your consultation call. How is it going? Is it working? I would love to know more about that as well. And then finally, I put completion, right? And this is just the marketing strategy worked, the consultation call worked, and now a client has come into our practice. And hopefully if those two things worked well, it's a good fit and we continue to work together. Anyway, this is a video that I hope gives you more information about marketing, the strategies, the calls, and helping clients stick, not just every client, but clients who are a good fit for your practice. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.